I saw an interview, and this was even before Fan Fest, before people got to put their eyes, on a full, I guess, full scale practice in camp, right? And it was an interview from Scott Fowler. Shout out to Scott Fowler of the Charlotte Observer. And he talked about how Bryce Young looks like $1 million, actually $200 million bucks at Panther camp. So I'm going to read this article. Like I said, it's a little robust, but just bear with me because I think it's important for the general conversation. He says, as he begins his fourth NFL season at age 25, Bryce Young just seems different. People can and should be skeptical about the sign that's written about a starting NFL quarterback every offseason when no one is getting sacked and almost everyone looks good, which I completely agree with. You have to be very careful about, if we're going to do that with Bryce, we should do that with everybody. But on the flip side, if we're going to do this with Bryce, then, and I'm talking mainly to me, we need to do this with everybody. And I think y'all know who everybody is, but we'll get around to that later. People can and should be skeptical, but I'm here to tell you, based on whatever institutional knowledge I've acquired from covering these Carolina Panthers for 32 seasons. Now, here's where the bomb drop comes. That what Young is doing in practice right now in training camp is about to lead to a really good and possibly great season for him. And it will lead to a massive new contract too. You've seen Steph Curry get on the heater, right? When he's shooting logo threes and putting people to sleep in the fourth quarter with exactly zero fans in attendance and not nearly the same level of pressure as a real game, that was Young in Carolina's training camp Wednesday. It was the best practice I've ever seen him have. It was impossible to look away as number 9 made one dazzling throw after another, firing the ball into windows the size of portholes. Let's pause right there. All right. If Bryce Young was a practice warrior, then I would look at this and be like, okay, cool. Because we've seen this over the years from quite a few people. I can name a few if you want me to. One of them just retired. Will Greer, right? There were times in practice where Will Greer would light it up. Matt Corral would be extremely accurate in practice, right? I bought into it. I'm a fan. Fan is short for fanatic. You got me. The difference is that you're talking about a quarterback who literally in the fourth quarter, for the exception of one drive at the end of the year, and you could make an argument that maybe that drive keeps going if 15 actually grabs the ball, right? But I'm not blaming because that's a lot of pressure, especially for a young guy in that moment. That said, this guy literally has ice in his veins. The majority of our wins last year that were won in the fourth quarter. Now, if you want to make an argument, well, why wasn't this happening earlier in the game? Maybe, hey, look, you got me in some of them. But when it counts, when you need it, no pressure felt. So if he's doing this in practice, then to me, that's going to transition. And the thing that stuck out to me most of what Scott Fowler said here is it was the best practice I've ever seen him have. It was impossible to look away as number 9 made one dazzling throw after the other. Young threw one 30-yard deep ball to Xavier Legette in the back left corner of the end zone that couldn't have been placed better if he had walked the 30 yards and handed it to Legette, who made a great catch with safety Nick Scott draped all over him. That's what I love to see. We talked about this last year, and I know Brad's listening, but he's just giving me a chance to get through the article, and he'll come in and chime in just a moment. But one of the things that we talked about ad nauseum last year was, hey, if Xavier Legette, who sat down with Cam Newton, says, hey, man, I really just need to do some of the things that I was good at in college. Well, what were those things? Primarily just field stretching. If I run a 9 route, trust me that I can go up and catch the ball. Will you actually trust me in that? Here's your proof. Threw you a 30-yard deep bomb. Now, the one that he threw against Atlanta, Xavier Legette, it wasn't wide open, but it was a lot of room. He had a big step, right? Nick Scott draped all over you on this one. Came down with it. That's trust. If we do it in camp and it doesn't work, then I'm not probably going to do it in the game. But if we simulate this in camp over and over again and we build that trust up, hey, you came down and hung out with me in my house, with my family so I could show you how I really give it up, right? And showed me some of the most love that I felt in my life from someone who honestly probably could make an argument that, hey, I've written you off. And this goes both ways. This ain't just a one-way street. For as much as Bryce Young went down to give Xavier Legette confidence, Xavier Legette gave Bryce confidence. Hey, man, you can believe in me. You can trust me. I haven't given up on you. Remember, you got benched. Do you remember that? I never gave up on you. I never talked crazy about you to anybody. I was always in your corner. They brought me in to help. I came to be an asset, not a liability, right? So seeing this early in camp, and look, this ain't the only one. This is the one that's been highlighted. Saw one in FanFest, right? So this is something that's a consistent theme between them two. And look, this was happening even before Brazil got hurt. So I'm glad that I'm seeing this, and I'm glad that this trust is being built. Let's keep going. Young scrambled away from pressure. That was where he's special, Coach Dave Canales said, and found one target after another on the run. Over and over, the coverage wasn't bad, but Young was just better. His receivers helped him out by catching everything. He ended practice, and I saw this one. This is the one that somebody, shout out to my man, Real Ball Watcher. He reposted this, and then I reposted it, and his post went viral. My post did numbers too, which is crazy. But somebody from a rooftop condo in Charlotte filmed this exact play. And I'm thinking in my mind, like, yo, where are these cameras at whenever these UFOs are flying around? Because I was able to see Tetaroa's, like, the detail on his tattoos paused when he caught the ball, right? But, man, what a beautiful, beautiful throw, anticipation throw. I mean, the ball was out of Bryce's hands before T-Mac even came into the frame. The ball was heading right in the direction where he needed to catch it. That's where you would see people like JT O'Sullivan writing on his screen, A, capital A, circled A, undercased A, or, strike through A, and all that kind of stuff from the anticipation. This is the stuff that we talked about. This was his superpower, one of them, coming out of college. And you're seeing this in real time. We've already seen it. But now, when I got mastery over the offense, and there's something else too that I believe, and we'll bring Brad in on that portion of it, that's happening here. This is magical. This is special. Over and over, the coverage wasn't bad, but Young was better. His receivers helped him out by catching everything. He ended practice with a strike to the fingertips of Tetaroa and McMillan in the end zone. T-Mac hauled it in on the full stretch. The horn blew and practice was over with a play that was symbolic of the day. Hey, man, listen. At the beginning of all this, when this whole camp thing started, defense was going crazy. 2 days straight, man. People was getting worried. Man, what's going on with the offense? Because defense was out there giving it up. And it hadn't been like that since. Boy, what a beautiful thing. They whooped our, you know what, today. Noted Pro Bowl cornerback J.C. Horn, speaking of the Carolinas offense success against the defense. And yes, that's exactly what happened. It's not what happened in every practice, but it's happening more often as Young, the former number 1 overall pick, plays with a sort of freedom that knowing the playbook backward and forward allows you to do. Here's something else I'm going to tell you. Newsflash. It ain't just that he knows the playbook. The shackles have been taken off. Hallelujah. Shout out to Brad Izzik. I was one of those people. I'm not going to say I was like, I don't want to sit here and act like I was all excited with Brad Izzik becoming the play caller. But when we had Real Ball Watcher on last year, and he talked about the very small sample size that we've seen from Brad Izzik, he told me, and if you go back and watch our video, you can see this, and I quote, John, if they ever give him the full play calling duties, we will become what we are, a passing offense. He will open this thing up. We will be aggressive. We will become a passing offense, and we might be seeing that happening in real time. Bryce is continuing to take steps, Canales said on Wednesday. What I see from Bryce right now is just ownership and mastery of the concepts, and now I just see the time and the rhythm, and to me, you factor with the guys. And watching him throw anticipatory balls to T-Mac, to Jalen Coker, to David Moore, who showed up again with another touchdown. Don't discount David Moore. Do not discount it. It's important to inject the requisite skepticism here. Chris Brazil, the rookie the Panthers were counting on to be the occasional player and deep ball threat for Young, was carted off the field, blah, blah, blah. And it's also significant to note that Young, still only 14-30 as an NFL starter, can't get hit in practices, which Carolina fans would usually be watching but aren't for the second straight year due to construction. Boo. Lots of QBs throw the ball well in those situations, including Carolina's backup on Wednesday. Still, most of those QBs aren't regularly going against Horn and Mike Jackson. That's very important. Very important. We're going to listen to an interview in just a few moments about a player who talked about how another player is doing well because of who he's going against in practice. Monroe Freeling and Jalen Phillips are having absolute dogfights in practice. And it's going under the radar but both of them are getting better as a result of it. And the crazy thing, man, both of these guys are humongous human beings. So that's got to be a really, really fun battle to watch. One that I am absolutely jealous that we can't watch. And it sucks that these guys aren't in Spartanburg anymore, but I'm not going to keep complaining about that. Said Horn, I kind of noticed Bryce's trust in his receivers more, putting the ball in the air, letting them come and make plays. They whooped our behind today for most of the practice, but it's good to see that too, just because we know we're coming in with some firepower on the offensive side of the ball, and it's going to help us on Sundays. Iron sharpening iron. And he be talking crazy out there. And I really believe this. I really, truly believe this. I think that Bryce Young has finally got to a comfort level where not only can I have autonomy to go where I want to with the ball, right? Passing the ball, because the one thing I love about T-Mac, who is the ultimate alpha receiver, he's not a diva. T-Mac's a team guy. I love that, right? At least not yet. But full autonomy over the offense and full trust that I can say whatever I want to these guys. It's not effing raining anymore. It's not effing raining anymore. Let's get it together. Yeah.